Hello everyone! Thank you for joining us today on Facebook Live. We are going to talk about pools. Memorial Day weekend is coming up this coming weekend, which is the start of pool season in our county. Joining us today we have Megan West from Environmental Health, who has been part of the team to put together a lot of these guidelines for pools. So ask your questions in the comments and we will do our best to answer them all. So to start off, a really common question we get is it safe to go to the pool?
So there's no evidence right now to suggest that COVID-19 is spread to people through water, so that's a very good thing. The one thing that we do want to be careful of though when we do go to pools is the social distancing, good hand hygiene, and disinfection. So we put some guidelines in place for pools that they can implement and then help to keep people safe.
Yeah, and those guidelines can be found in the business guidance book that is on our website at como.gov/coronavirus. So another common thing with that is, what about the chlorine in the pool? How does that affect COVID-19?
Mm-hmm. So the CDC has said that when chlorine and pH levels are kept at their proper concentrations, that should be effective to kill the coronavirus. Again, no evidence to suggest that it's spread to people through the water, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, but obviously, you can't keep yourself underwater the whole time. So what can people do to keep safe when they're at the pool?
Mm-hmm. So when you first go into a pool, make sure that you're washing your hands, or if there's not a bathroom or hand washing station available, you can use hand sanitizer at least 60% alcohol. While you're at the pool, again, make sure that you're socially distancing. All of the pool furniture should be kept at least 6 feet apart. Also make sure that you're not sharing any toys that you bring into the pool with you, any type of floaties or anything like that.
Yeah, so once you're in the pool, how can you distance that way?
So that depends kind of on what you're doing. There's a couple different things you could do. If you're swimming laps in the pool and there's swim lanes open, they should have every other swim lane open, and that will allow you to social distance at all times while you're swimming. Otherwise, just make sure you're staying apart from people, again, not sharing those toys. If you're in the same household, you can stay together, but otherwise, if it's someone that's outside of your household, just stay 6 feet away.
Yeah. So in addition to the individual being really responsible while they're at the pool, the pools themselves have to do certain things to follow our guidance. So what are some of those things that pools should be doing?
So pools at a minimum should be checking their pH and chlorine levels every day. Sometimes they'll do that more often. They've also had to submit plans to our department with detailing how they're going to be disinfecting, maintaining social distancing, and we have to approve those plans before they go into effect. Something else that pools are doing is they're limiting how much pool furniture they put out, depending on what their limits are for capacity. Also keeping that pool furniture 6 feet apart, making sure that they're disinfecting those high-touch surfaces in the pools, like your gates, handrails, even the pool furniture. Also, if they don't have any bathrooms available in the swimming pool area, we've asked them to set out that hand sanitizer for people to use as they come in.
Yeah, and so what if a pool isn't following these guidelines?
So the first thing that we would do is educate the pool. Obviously, this is new territory for everyone. We haven't put these restrictions in place before, and it's a lot. So we would want to work with the pool, educate them, help them get it figured out. Ultimately, if there are repeated violations, though, we can suspend the permit.
Okay. And then as part of those guidelines, too, is the number of people that can be in the pool. What are those restrictions right now?
So if you have a monitored pool, there is no limit on the amount of people that you can have in the pool area, but they do have to remain socially distant at all times. If your pool is unmonitored, so an example would be like an apartment complex or a homeowners association, those have a capacity of 10 at all times.
I think that's most of our questions, so we'll kind of wait and see if there are some more that come in. In the meantime, something we didn't talk about were hot tubs. So what are the restrictions, if any, on hot tubs right now?
So at this time, hot tubs are not allowed to be open, and that is because of those social distance requirements. they're just really small. There's no way to stay 6 feet away from someone when you have more than one person in them at a time.
Yeah. Is there anything that we haven't said today that you feel people should know before heading to the pool this weekend?
I would say just make sure, again, to socially distance while you're there. If you have hand sanitizer that you can bring with you to use while you're there, that's always a good idea. And I would say separate from COVID-19, just always make sure that you're following safe guidelines as well that we would normally have in place. When you go into a pool, identify where the life-saving equipment is in case of an emergency. Some pools will also have an emergency telephone available, so identify those key points and wear your sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely on the sunscreen. And I know there's a lot of different information out there, and I do want to take this opportunity to say the CDC says there's not evidence to suggest that UV or sunlight can kill COVID. So, you know, make sure if you are out, you're being safe, you're using that high SPF sunblock. Yeah. So I think that might be all the questions right now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. My computer is being a little slow today. And just to clarify, you know, you talked about homeowners, pools. I know certain neighborhoods have pools. What about apartment complex pools?
Yeah, so those would be considered an unmonitored pool. So again, you have a maximum of 10 people at a time. Some places, what they have chosen to do is appoint a monitor, and then they can have more people at a time. So that's perfectly acceptable, and that's something that would be proposed in the plan that they then submit to us for approval.
And then if a pool hasn't submitted a plan yet, how can they do that?
They can contact environmental health. We can send those guidelines to you, and then you just email them to us, and we'll review them.
Whose job will it be to maintain 6 feet distance while out the pools?
So it'll be the responsibility of the pool owners, also the patrons that are at the pool. It'll be your responsibility as well to just keep track of yourself. The pools that have monitors, they will be in charge. The pools that do not have monitors, they'll have someone checking periodically as well on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know this was a little bit shorter of a live today, but we are happy to answer any more questions. If we didn't already, you're welcome to message those to us or comment on this video. We'll do our best to answer later. As always, you can also email us at coronavirus@como.gov. Thank you for joining us today.